Because that is where your power begins. Listen, this is where it really begins. Not with what people did to you, but with what you allowed. Now hear this. Being a too nice didn't start overnight. It was built, slowly, through moments where you chose silence instead of truth. Where you chose comfort instead of confrontation. Where you chose to keep the peace even when it cost you your own. Now listen carefully. At first it felt right. You told yourself, I'm just being a good person. I don't want problems. It's not that serious. But over time, something started to change. Now think deeply. You started feeling drained, not physically, but emotionally. You gave more than you received. You showed up for people who never showed up for you. You listened, but nobody listened to you. Now hear this, and the worst part? You stayed quiet about it. Now listen, because deep down, you thought if you just stayed nice, things would get better. People would understand. People would appreciate you. People would change. But they didn't. Now hear this, because people don't change when you tolerate everything. They adapt to it. Now listen carefully. The more you accepted, the more they expected. The more you gave, the more they took. And slowly, without even realizing it, you trained people how to treat you. Now think about that. You didn't just get used, you allowed the pattern. No. Now hear this. And that truth is uncomfortable, because it puts responsibility back on you. But listen, that's not weakness. That's power. Because if you allowed it, you can change it. Now listen, this is where everything shifts, when you stop blaming people and start observing patterns. Hear this. Ask yourself honestly, where did I stay silent when I should have spoken? Where did I say yes when I meant no? Where did I accept less than I deserved? Now listen carefully, because those moments, that's where your power was lost, not taken, given. Now think deeply. Every time you ignored your own boundaries, you made someone else comfortable crossing them. Now hear this, and over time, that becomes normal. Not just for them, but for you. Now listen, you start believing that this is just how life is, that people always take advantage, that being good always leads to pain. But that's not the truth. Now hear this. The truth is, you were good, but you were not guarded. Now listen carefully. Kindness without boundaries is an open invitation, and not everyone deserves access to you. Now think deeply. Your time is valuable. Your energy is limited. Your presence is not something everyone should have. But if you give it to everyone, it loses its value. Now hear this. That's why being selective is not selfish. It's necessary. Now listen, this is not about changing who you are. It's about protecting who you are. Now hear this. You don't need to stop being kind. You need to stop being available to everyone. Now listen carefully, because not everyone respects kindness. Some people test it, some people use it, some people drain it. Now think deeply, and if you don't recognize that, you will keep repeating the same pain. Different people, same pattern. Now hear this, but that pattern can end, right here, right now. Now listen, it ends the moment you decide, I will no longer ignore myself. Now hear this, that decision is powerful, because it changes your behavior. And when your behavior changes, people's access to you changes. Now listen carefully. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. You just need to live it. Yeah. Now think deeply. Say no when it matters. Speak when it's uncomfortable. Walk away when it's necessary. Now hear this, because respect is not something you ask for. It's something you demonstrate. Through your standards, through your actions. Below your actions. Now listen, because your life is not meant to be filled with everyone. It is meant to be filled with the right ones. Now hear this. And the right people respect boundaries. They don't punish you for having them. Now listen carefully. If someone gets upset because you set a boundary, that tells you everything you need to know. Now think deeply, because healthy people don't fear your strength. Only those who benefit from your weakness do. Now hear this, so stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself. Now listen, you are not becoming a bad person. You are becoming a balanced one. Now hear this, kindness with strength, care with boundaries, respect with awareness. Now listen carefully, that is the version of you that wins, not the one who gives everything, but the one who gives wisely. Now think deeply. You don't need to change your heart, you need to change your standards. Now hear this, because your heart is good, it just needs protection. Now listen, and once you protect it, You will no longer feel drained. You will feel in control. Now hear this. And control is where your confidence begins. Now listen carefully. This is not the end of your kindness. This is the beginning of your power. Listen, now comes the part most people avoid completely. Not because they don't understand it, but because it requires action, real action. Not thoughts, not intentions, behavior. Now hear this. It's easy to say, I'll stop being too nice. I'll set boundaries. I'll change. But when the moment actually comes, that's where the truth shows up. Now listen carefully. When someone asks you for something you don't want to do, what do you do? When someone crosses a line, what do you do? When you feel disrespected, what do you do? Now think deeply, because your response in that moment, that is your real identity, not what you say later. Not what you think afterward, what you do in the moment. Now hear this, and those moments will test you again and again. Now listen, at first you will hesitate, you will overthink, you will feel pressure, you will feel that old voice saying, just say yes. Don't make it awkward. It's not worth it. Now hear this, that voice is your old pattern trying to survive. Now listen carefully, and if you listen to it again, nothing changes. Now think deeply, change only happens when your behavior changes, not once, but consistently. Now hear this, the first time you say no, it will feel heavy. The first time you speak up, it will feel uncomfortable. The first time you walk away, it will feel difficult. Now listen, but that's the price of growth. Now hear this, because every time you do something different, you are breaking the old version of yourself. Now listen carefully, and that process is not smooth, it is messy, it is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Now think deeply, you are not losing anything in this process. You are removing what was never respecting you. Now hear this, some people will not like the new you. Let that be clear. Now listen, they will say, you've changed. You're different now. You're not the same. And they're right. Now hear this, because the old version of you was easier to control. Now listen carefully. The old version of you didn't say no, didn't speak up, didn't push back. Now think deeply. So when you change, it disrupts their comfort, not your value. Now hear this, and that's where many people break. They go back to being a nice, just to keep others comfortable. Now listen, but understand this. If your growth makes someone uncomfortable, that is not your responsibility. Now hear this, your responsibility is to yourself, to your peace, to your standards. Now listen carefully, because peace does not come from pleasing everyone. It comes from being aligned with yourself. Now think deeply. Every time you betray yourself, you lose peace. Every time you stand for yourself, you gain it. Now hear this, that is the trade-off. Now listen. So when the moment comes again, and it will choose differently. Now hear this, pause, think, respond with intention, not habit. Now listen carefully, say no when it's necessary. Speak when it's important, walk away when it's clear. Now think deeply, you don't need to explain everything. You don't need to justify everything. Now hear this, a no is a complete sentence. Now listen, respect does not come from over-explaining, it comes from certainty. Now hear this, and certainty is built through repetition. Now listen carefully, the more you stand your ground, the stronger you become. The more you protect your energy, the more control you gain. Now think deeply. This is not about becoming hard, it's about becoming clear. Now hear this, clear in what you accept, clear in what you reject, clear in who you allow. Now listen, and once you are clear, life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. Now hear this, you stop wasting energy, you stop chasing approval, you stop explaining your worth. Now listen carefully, and that is where confidence begins, not in words, but in behavior. Now think deeply, confidence is built every time you choose yourself. Now hear this, and over time, that choice becomes natural. Now listen, you don't hesitate anymore. You don't overthink anymore, you just act where you. Now hear this, and that is power. Now listen carefully, not loud power, not aggressive power, controlled power. Now think deeply, the power to say no, the power to walk away, the power to protect your peace. Now hear this, and once you have that, you are no longer too nice. You are balanced, strong, aware. Now listen, and that version of you, that is the one who wins. Listen, now we step into the part that changes everything long term, not just how you act, but who you become. Because at some point, this is no longer about learning the boundaries, it becomes about living with them. Now hear this. There is a difference between setting a boundary once and becoming a person who naturally has them. Now listen carefully. At first you remind yourself, a say no, a speak up, a don't tolerate this. But over time, if you stay consistent, you don't remind yourself anymore. You just act. Oh. Now think deeply. That's when it becomes identity. Now hear this, you are no longer trying to be strong, you are strong. You are no longer trying to protect your peace. You protect it automatically. Now listen, and that shift, that is everything. Now hear this, because when something becomes your identity, it becomes effortless. Now listen carefully. The same way you once said yes without thinking, now you say no without guilt. The same way you once tolerated everything, now you walk away without hesitation. Now think deeply. That is not arrogance, that is clarity. Now hear this. And clarity removes confusion. Now listen, you don't question yourself anymore, you don't over-explain yourself anymore, you don't shrink yourself anymore. Now hear this, because you understand your value. Now listen carefully, and value is not something you demand from others. It is something you demonstrate, through consistency, through behavior, through standards. Now think deeply. If you treat yourself like you matter, others will see it. If you treat yourself like an option, others will follow. Now hear this, because people don't decide your value, they observe it. Now listen, and once you live with strong standards, something interesting happens. Now hear this, you attract different people. People who respect your time, people who respect your boundaries, people who don't try to take advantage of you. Now listen carefully, because your energy changes, your presence changes, your behavior changes. Now think deeply, you are no longer easy to misuse. Now hear this, and that filters your life. Now listen, the wrong people leave, the right people listen. This is the last word. Not louder, just clearer. Now hear this, you don't need to become harder, you need to become honest. Honest about what drains you, honest about what you allow, honest about where you stay too long. Now listen carefully, you were never too nice, you were just unprotected. And today, that changes. Now hear this, from this moment forward, you move with intention, you give with awareness, you stay with purpose, and you walk away without guilt. Now listen, you don't chase understanding anymore, you don't beg for respect anymore, you don't shrink to keep people comfortable anymore. Now hear this, you choose peace over approval, standards over sympathy, clarity over confusion. Now listen carefully, if it costs your peace, it's too expensive. If it costs your self-respect, it's too much. If it makes you question your worth, it's not for you. Now think deeply, you are not here to be accepted by everyone. You are here to be aligned with yourself. Now hear this, and alignment is power, quiet power, controlled power, unshakable power. Unshakable power. Now listen, so protect your time, protect your energy, protect your name, protect your standards. Now hear this, because what you protect, you keep, and what you tolerate, you teach. Now listen carefully, let your actions speak now. Short answers, clear boundaries, calm exits. Now think deeply, no anger, no drama, just certainty. Now hear this, you don't need to prove anything, you need to live differently. Now listen, and if someone can't handle the new you, let them go, not with hate, with clarity. Now hear this, because the right people will never require you to lose yourself to keep them. Now listen carefully, so move forward, not louder, stronger, not harsher, clearer, not colder, wiser. Now hear this final line, sometimes, no matter how nice you are, it will never be enough. And that's okay, because you were never meant to be enough for everyone. You were meant to be real with yourself. And that is more than enough.